So a lot of videos will have a YouTube introduction on them, and this is just an introduction that basically tells the brand of the content coming out. So for example, like on my video right here, it's just a logo that comes through, shines, and then we go right into the tutorial. If you just go to YouTube and you search create a YouTube intro, there are 1,000 different tutorials on how to actually create your intro. There are some templates and everything like that. But what I wanted to go over was the SEO, the sort of what you should do when you create your intro. And the biggest mistake that I find is that people make their introductions too long. This is a big problem because people are coming to watch your content. And if you put a 20 or 30-second intro, which I have seen, that becomes a problem, especially if people are trying to watch a lot of your videos. They don't want to watch the same 30-second intro every single time they watch one of your videos. And it doesn't really help because why does it need to be 30 seconds? You have to think about that. What is it giving the user? What value is that creating when you make it that long? All it does is it frustrates the user and they'll move on to the next video. This is a great chart to look at. This is one of my most, or I guess, highest viewed, average percentage viewed videos. And you can see that even in this video, and you'll notice that it's with any of your videos, in the first about 12 seconds, you'll lose about a quarter to half your audience. It just happens. People click on the video by mistake. People come to the video and realize, hey, this isn't what I want. People come to the video and they skip to some other parts in the video, etc. But you'll lose a bunch of your audience right at the beginning. And you can see that it's always right around 9 seconds is where your audience will stabilize. So what you want to do is you want to try to capture the audience's attention in this first 9 seconds right here, this first 9 seconds. So if all you have there is an introduction that just goes for the next 30 seconds all the way to over here, what you're doing is you're creating a problem there because now people are like, okay, maybe I should stay, and they'll leave. And then your intro keeps playing and more people will leave, and then only the people that really, really want to see the content will stay. So you want to try to hook the user right here, and having a really long introduction doesn't do that. So what you need to do is if you want to create an introduction, you need to keep it under 7 seconds. That's usually my rule of thumb, is keep it under 7 seconds. Shorter is better. If you saw the one that I showed was mine, that was 3 seconds long. I made sure that it was I wanted to have something that sort of branded my video, but I didn't want it to, get in the way of people that are trying to learn. So what I made it was basically 2.5 seconds. So it quickly shows it what I'm trying to go over, and then it moves on. You'll notice that Node, the video gaming channel I've talked about, does the exact same thing. This is theirs. 3.5 seconds on their intro. And even Good Mythical Morning, which is more of a talk show, if you'll notice, they have a 4-second sort of hook right here where they talk about whatever they're going to discuss in here. They come up with something funny to say, and then they usually end it with, let's talk about that. Then they have their intro playing from 5 seconds till right about 13 seconds. So that is about 8 seconds long, right around that 7-second threshold. And they're extremely established, so that's fine. They could make a 30-second intro and people would still watch. But what I'm trying to say here is that what you want to do when you create your intro, however you create your intro, is that you want to make sure that it is short. It is not going to take up the user's time. You want people to be hooked when they get into your content, not to be, like, okay, droning on, you know what, I'm going to find something else. That is the key when you're creating your intro, and that will hopefully get you a lot more of a view duration. A very important aspect of the video production process, and one that's often overlooked, is the audio quality. You don't have to, hire a sound engineer and get it up to amazing amounts of audio quality, but you do need at least decent to good audio quality. Audio is actually more important than the video quality. Now, this is something that a lot of people don't understand, and it causes a lot of problems. Now, you might be thinking, well, that doesn't make much sense. Video quality is, it's what people see. Well, they've actually done a study, and the thing is that the video isn't as important as the audio. If you have really, really clear, crisp video but bad audio, people are going to leave. There's something about it that destroys the illusion of what videos are if the audio quality isn't good. Think about back in like the 1950s when TVs were still black and white, they were blurry, they were really sort of low resolution, but the audio was pretty decent. TV was still extremely popular back then. I mean, movies, TV, all of that was still extremely popular. And that's because the video quality, even though it was subpar as in today's standards, the audio quality was enough to engage you. It was enough to keep you in the sort of the illusion and to keep you in the story. Now, if you have really bad audio quality, it just sounds bad and it breaks the illusion. It makes you think, oh, this is just some bad, video. This is just a bad production that I'm watching. And so I kind of wanted to drive this point home with an example of my own. So in the first video right here, we have really good audio quality, but really bad video. I mean, it's cropped off, the lighting is pretty poor, it's overexposed in the background, but you'll notice that the audio quality is really crisp and clear. And then in the second one, we have really good video, but really bad audio. And I want you to think to yourself, which one would you rather watch? Which one could you tolerate better? So let's get this started with the first one right here. So the first test is with some bad video quality, but pretty decent audio quality. So you can see that the audio is crisp and clear, while the video is, sort of muddy. My face isn't illuminated. There's some stuff behind me that's sort of silhouetting me. We got some weird angles of light coming in here, but the audio is clear. And you can see right there that the audio quality, like I said in the video, it's really clear, and it's something that you could watch, especially if it had good content. Maybe it's a tutorial, or maybe this is just the way the interviewer wanted the interview to go. Maybe you disagree with it, but it's still watchable. Let's take a look at the second one, which is really good video quality, but very bad audio quality.
The second example is with some good video, but the audio quality is pretty bad. I mean, the lighting looks really good. We got some good depth of field going. We got some good side light coming in, but the audio is crap, and that is a big problem, because which one would you rather watch, this one or the other one? You might not even be able to hear what I'm saying,
And so you can see right there the difference. In the first video, like I said, it's tolerable. It's something that I might watch. But this second video, I didn't even understand some of the words that were being recorded. And imagine if this is like a tutorial or a vlog or an interview. If you can't understand what's going on, why would you watch it? It has no value without the audio. So even though the video is something that's going to, push your production to the next level, the audio quality is essential. Bad audio quality is going to basically have people click away from your video really quick. And this doesn't have to be as extreme as this is. This is stuff like the wind on your video. If you're outside and you're filming yourself and you can only hear every other word and there's wind going like by you, a lot of people just upload videos like that and they think, oh, it's fine. They can kind of hear what I'm saying. The video looks really great though. That is a bad thing to do. Trust me. People will leave your video immediately once they can't understand the plot line or what you're trying to say anymore. So remember, video quality, great, but audio quality is essential. So let's talk about creating YouTube thumbnails. YouTube thumbnails are extremely important to sort of show off what the video is going to be about. So you can search any YouTube channel on here, like Good Mythical Morning or Node, or really any channel you can think of, and look at their thumbnails. Look at what they capture. Let's also look at Corridor right here as well. And you can see that the thumbnails are something that shows off the video. They're the visual aspect of this list on YouTube. So there's a bunch of text on the right, but a lot of people don't even look at the text. It's like if you have a picture book. You look at the picture first, then maybe read the text. And so what you want is to create a good impression on the first sort of look at your video. That's what's going to get you some more clicks. It's going to direct people to your video because they look at it and they're like, hey, that might be a video that I want to watch. There's a very fine line also between having these sort of draw people in and being clickbait. Putting an image on your video that isn't actually in the video or even related to your video in the sole purpose of just getting clicks is clickbait. And you can actually be reported and basically have your videos taken down and have strikes against your account if you do that often enough. So you have to sort of find a line. You have to find what is too far. Some of the major YouTubers do it, but they sort of have some gray area. They've learned where they can do it, how far they can push it. And so it kind of comes down to your choice, what you want to do, what you're comfortable with. Just understand that the more clickbait it becomes, the more risk that you take and the more chance that you have of not even building an audience, just having people view your video, dislike it, and leave. So that comes up to you as well. But with thumbnails, what's important is to capture the essence of the video so that people will basically see what they're getting into and they want to get into it. With my thumbnails, what I do is I create some text on here. I show the effect in the background. So for example, this is the parallax effect. And then I just put some text that shows people what they're going to be getting into. A good strategy is to have a thumbnail that doesn't capture the text. So for example, or something that's tied to the text but doesn't exactly say exactly the same thing. So over here we have the title is I'm buying a tank, and it shows a salesman buying a tank. So it shows what the video is about, but it doesn't say over here, I'm buying a tank on here as well. You don't want sort of two of these right next to each other. You want them to accent each other, but not to copy and paste on one another. So for example, the full title to this is How to Create a Parallax Effect in Adobe Premiere Pro CC 2018. What I do though is I like to capture the essence of what someone's going to learn in my thumbnail. So sometimes that is directly, that comes from the title. Sometimes it isn't. So for other tutorials, maybe this text isn't going to be in the title, but it's going to be the essence of what you're learning. So I tell people they're going to be creating a parallax effect. And that's as simple as you need to get it. You don't want to put all that extra stuff, because the smaller and smaller your font gets, the harder it gets to read, and the less it stands out, the less sort of general idea that people get about the video. When people scroll down and they find this thumbnail, they know exactly what they're getting. They're creating a parallax effect, and this is the effect they're creating. So if this is what they wanted to create, they're like, yep, that's what I want, and they click on it. And so then they watch the video, and hopefully you've taught what you've actually showed in here, or you've shown something that, you know, that the thumbnail alluded to. And so what other stuff that I do is I put a border around it, and I show the sort of the technology that I'm using. In this case, it is Premiere Pro. And so you want to make sure that if your thumbnail is small, it's still readable. So even about here, maybe a mobile's right there, you can still read it pretty fine. If I went in here and I added new text down here, let's say some small text, right, like so, and then I zoomed it all the way out, you'll notice the smaller and smaller I get, the harder it gets to read. And about here, which is about the normal size of a YouTube thumbnail, it gets extremely difficult to read. You can't even read it. So make sure your text is big enough that people can see it. Now, you might be thinking, how exactly do I create a thumbnail? Well, there are a bunch of different ways to create it. I create mine in Photoshop, but Photoshop is a really hard technology to learn right off the bat, especially if all you're going to be doing is creating thumbnails. So what's kind of neat is that YouTube actually has a thumbnail creator that they have added with their some of the recent updates. So if you go and edit any of your video, you can actually get to this feature. So for example, on my most recent tutorial, how to create an arrow wipe transition, you see now they actually have a button down here that says create thumbnail. And what you can do is you can scan through your video and you can find a video still, and then you can work with that. So for example, let's say we wanted to go with right here, like this is what we want to do. So we say, yep, we click next. And now we have the ability to add shapes, images, text, templates, anything that we want on here, easy and quick, and it's all within YouTube. You can do it all right here. You can click next and you can see what the thumbnail will look like. If you like it, go ahead and click that save thumbnail button. So this is the easiest way by far. If you don't have any of that technology with Photoshop and everything like that, definitely go with this. You can create thumbnails really fast, really simply, and get some really high quality templates. If you want to go a little bit higher, a little bit sort of higher level where you can actually cut things out of video and stuff, you'll want to use something like Photoshop or maybe GIMP. And the easiest way to find tutorials on that is really just to search how to create a thumbnail for YouTube and then put the program name here. So for example, in GIMP. You click on that, it's going to have a bunch of different tutorials on how to do this in GIMP. GIMP is free. It's sort of like a free Photoshop, a little easier to use. And like I said, it's free. If you want to use Photoshop, put Photoshop right there. You can learn how to make one in there as well. But on the marketing side, on the SEO side, those are the key elements. Make sure it has something that captures the video, something that draws people in, but don't go too far where you're, just basically false advertising. Also, make sure your text is large enough to read. You don't want to have too small of text. And with the title, make sure that it accents, it sort of goes with the title, but it isn't a direct copy. You want to be able to show them what is going on and use the visual aspect of this thumbnail. Let's cover another important aspect of your channel, and that is the importance of the cover image on your channel. So the cover image is just like the thumbnail in that it is the visual representation of your channel. It's the first thing that people will see, and it's the thing that people are going to basically look at first and then move down. So you want to have something that incorporates your channel up here. You want to have something that shows off what you do. So for example, I have very important information. This is the Adobe Masters channel. These are some of the tutorials I go over, and this is one of the most important important parts, I make videos every other day. That is extremely important because it allows people to understand how often they're going to get videos. So putting your schedule up here is really important. A lot of other channels do this as well. So for example, we've been going through sort of Corridor Digital. Let's take a look at Corridor Digital right here. And you can see that their channel right here, it shows the people behind Corridor Digital in a really sort of neat way. They also have their website and stuff over here on the right. So this is important. It is the front of your basically your channel. It's what people see first. So you need to also work on creating something that looks semi-good and that sort of points information in the right place. Like I said with the other tutorials, I use Photoshop for this, and this is sort of an SEO marketing course. So I don't want to go in depth in how to make this, but I do want to show you how you might make this. So the first thing you need to understand is to get these dimensions. If you click on it up here, it's going to say drag your photo, and you can drag a photo in here. There's even a tutorial right here on how to create or edit channel art, and it goes through sort of good ways to create channel art and what you might be able to do that. So Google has a little guide on that. On right here though is important. Recommended channel art size, 2560 by 1440. So this is the size of the document that you want to create in whatever editing program you're using. So for example, in Photoshop, if I went to File, New, I would want to put those dimensions in right here to make sure that it's going to fit. Otherwise, it'll be stretched or cut off, and you won't get what you actually created. And then like any other tutorial, or any other thing, if you just search on YouTube, create channel art, and then whatever program you want to use. So if you're good with Photoshop, go for that. If you want to say probably for YouTube would be better to go this down, and you can put something like in GIMP, which the reason I keep referring to that is because it's free. And then you have tutorials like this. So for example, simple guide for editing YouTube channel art with GIMP. You have how to make awesome YouTube banner in GIMP. YouTube banner is another name for it. You have a bunch of tutorials. You can download that free project or that free program and then get to work on creating some good channel art for your channel. But understand, really important, because this is the first thing that people see once they get to your channel. You should use it to sort of sell yourself, to sell what the channel is about, and to make people want to subscribe to you. So let's talk about end screens on basically YouTube. End screens have changed basically every single year since I've been on YouTube. However, they seem to be changing a little bit less each time, and we finally down to something that works pretty well. And basically what you have is you have 20 seconds at the end of your video to add in these end screen sort of animations that point people in certain directions. So for example, this is one of my videos. I do this on every single one of my videos, is once I get to the very end, I go over the, hey, basically remember to subscribe, rate, comment sort of thing, and then I direct people to either my website or to other YouTube videos. And YouTube automatically puts this right here, which is the homepage of my website, and then it also has these two on the left and right. This is, I believe, the video, my most recent video. No, this is my most recent video on the right, and then this is one that YouTube thinks that they would enjoy on the left. And so YouTube does these three things. I do this back thing. And so the way you do this is, once you have a video uploaded, you go to end screen and annotations. Click on this. And then now, once you're in here, you have the ability to add different elements. And so if you click play, it's going to put you in the last 20 seconds, because that is the only place you are allowed to add these, is in the last 20 seconds, which is good to know for editing purposes. And what I do is I've created 3 elements. So I have a dynamic element, the most recent upload, a dynamic element, best for viewer, and then a link to my homepage. And you can see that you can edit these elements, and you basically choose an image, this, and then a learn more, and then you attach the link. You click add element to add any of this stuff, so you can promote another channel. You can promote a subscribe or subscriptions to your channel. So if I created one of these, you'll see that there's this link right here that people can click on and they will subscribe to my channel. I could put that in there, but I have a lot of sort of other things that point people towards subscribing. And then in the top left, I have these dynamic elements. So this is the most recent upload, and this is the best for the viewer. And YouTube chooses this stuff, so I don't have to do it. Now, when you're editing the video, the way that you do this is that you create an image to put over this stuff. And you have to understand the sort of the safe zones right here, which is this sort of box. So when you create your content, you need to make sure that you don't create content that's going to require these elements to go outside of this box. So if we go inside to basically Premiere Pro, what I do is, like, let's say this was a video that I wanted to put out. This is the bad audio video. I have in a folder right over here, let me go navigate to this folder. I have something called a folder called cover images where I just keep all of my thumbnails. But at the very top, I have this thing called background.png, and that is a background I've created in Photoshop. That is just the size of it. It's 1080p. It fits what all of my videos are, which are 1080p. And then basically I right click on this, I go to its speed and duration, and I set it to 20 seconds. 20 seconds like so. And then I just drag it so it overlaps the video a little bit. Now, usually I like to line it up so right when I start going into my sort of end of video speech, hey everyone, thanks for joining me. If you have any questions or comments, throw them in the comment section below or yada, 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 yada. And then so this comes up and then basically this will render out all the way the whole 20 seconds. And then once it's rendered out, I go up here and I just add this stuff in. Now, what's neat about YouTube is that once you create this once, you don't have to create it anymore. All you have to do is once it's uploaded, go to import from video, and you just click on the video you last created that on. It'll import all of these settings and then you're good to go. Just click save and you can move forward. Some good tips for what to do with these is you want to point people in the YouTube direction. So you don't want to point people basically, you kind of want to point people to your website. That's cool. Like I do that. But a lot of times you want to keep people on YouTube. The more you can keep people on YouTube, the more recurring traffic YouTube thinks you're giving, the more they're going to support your video. It's just like what we've been talking about this whole course. So that's why I have these two elements that are big is watch more videos, and then I have a small one. If you don't want to watch more videos, come to my website, which still has them watch YouTube videos on there as well. So it isn't a big penalty, but just sort of think about that. You kind of want to keep people moving through your videos at the end of your video. That'll keep people staying on YouTube, which is a good mark from you. Recurring traffic, it'll have you know, more people going to your videos. That's always good. And then it'll have people basically being associated with your brand. They'll jump from video to video, and maybe by the end of the 3 or 4 videos, they're like, you know what, I really like this sort of the way this person does X, Y, or Z. I'm going to subscribe. So that's the important part of this is in-screen annotations, in-screen sort of animations are great so that you can push people towards other videos, other content, and you can keep them on YouTube or keep them in your sort of your brand in your community. I think it's important to look at some of the most popular people on YouTube and to sort of analyze them and see what they've done. See if we can't grab some building blocks from them to better our growth. So in this section, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be going through some of my favorite YouTubers and sort of analyzing what they're doing right, some of the stuff that it makes them unique, you know, maybe even some of the stuff like that made them popular. We're going to be going through and just sort of grabbing some of these pieces just by looking at their channel, looking at some of their statistics, and sort of analyzing what might be working for them. Hopefully by the end of this section, you'll have a good, you know, working list of some things that you can do with your YouTube channel, get some ideas of what you might be able to do with your YouTube channel, and be able to just, you know, look at some of the greats and see what have they done, what can I replicate to help with that. So the first channel I want to look at is one of my favorites, which is Andrew Wong. I would classify his channel as a personality channel with a sort of music creation and appreciation little niche to it. So basically the videos all revolve around him, Andrew Wong, making music in some way, shape, or form. Only a couple of videos sort of go outside of this realm, but this is where it sticks and this is where his base comes from. You can see that he is very creative in his creations, that he uses a rubber chicken instrument where we have Darude Sandstorm made from a sandstorm. There's some how-to videos, making beats with certain elements, basically jam days, how made videos, stuff like that. So it's all about music and how he makes the music, which is pretty interesting. It's a pretty neat thing to do because not a lot of people on YouTube are doing that. And it took him a while to get popular. If you notice, if we go to socialblades.com or just Social Blade and search Andrew Wong, we can actually start looking at some of his statistics. And it's actually kind of interesting as you can get it to see what their original name was. So before he became sort of a personality, he was songs to wear pants to, which is actually very in his personality. That's kind of like, that makes a whole lot of sense when you think about it. But that's kind of an interesting thing that Social Blade will do is it'll show you their original video. So you can see that he is, if you go down into these analytics, you'll see that he actually spent maybe about 2 years making videos with very little amount of growth. Not to say that 5K subscribers a month is a little growth and, you know, 800,000 views, but in comparison to his 7 million views that he's getting right now, it took him a while to get up to this point. And so what did he do at the very beginning? And that's always interesting to look at. So if we go back about 2 years, we can kind of see what he was doing. And if we look back, you can see that it's a whole lot more of actual music creation here. So you can see that there's a lot of sort of the same stuff, but also some original works as well. And so what he did was, all he did was just release a bunch of these personal tracks, things that he created, and then these sort of viral alphabetical 26 genre song. Those are some of his keystones. But he created all this content, and he kept creating it over and over and over. Even with a relatively slow growth, he kept creating it. And it took him 2 years of just creating content to get to a point of mega success. And that's really important, I think. That's one of the things that I really enjoy about Andrew Wong, is that it took him so long to get to the point he's at now. He just kept doing what he was loved, just doing what he loved and posting consistently, and slowly he started to get his audience. And now he is like the number one in this field, this sort of music creation field, where it's just a guy creating music that, just has fun with it. So that's something that you can definitely grab from him, is consistency is key, and don't stop. If you love to do it, just keep creating it regardless of the growth, and eventually it will come. I don't know many people who have put out 300 videos of consistent quality content who haven't met some level of success. So that's one thing that we can grab from him. Another one is to stick with your niche and be creative on it. His niche is music creation, and yet he does so many different things with it. He has he has hearing challenges. He has, in his videos, there are even if it's a non-musical video, there'll still be musical elements in it. He uses different apps. He uses different phones, different equipment, different people to just create music in different ways that he can create them. He goes back sometimes to his old work and brings it together and creates music on that as well. There's just so many different things that he does, all in respect to him plus music, that makes him stand out. And that's what's really important as well, is to really stick with your niche and get creative on it. It doesn't have to be a perfect fit. You can sort of move something slightly to the side, but as long as it sort of ties into Andrew Wong plus music, it works. And you can do that with your channel as well. It'll let you sort of spread out and get more content in more areas and get more growth over time. So that's really important to learn. And you can see that he has created a consistent schedule, which is Mondays and Thursdays. That's also important to get that subscriber count going. And like I said, he just has fun with it. He's really authentic, and it works for him. So if you're going to take something away from Andrew Wong, take away that consistency is key, and really be creative with your niche, because when you're creative, your audience will love it. They have subscribed for this specific point, but they will enjoy seeing your rendition of different ideas around that point. And as long as it's sort of similar, it works, and it helps build your channel. It helps build that uniqueness that we talked about earlier, where you have this channel that's just you and music, but now it has the sort of the Andrew Wong spin on it. And that's important, is getting that spin so it's your channel and it's your content and no one else is doing it out there. Andrew Wong is a great sort of content creator to look at, to analyze, and to sort of figure out how he got successful. He's a great overall YouTuber. Another great channel to look at is the channel Corridor. They used to be Corridor Digital, that's their official channel title, but they switched their name down to just Corridor, so that's what I'm going to be calling them throughout the video. So Corridor is a channel that came up right around the same time as the channel Freddie W. Freddie W changed into Rocket Jump, and went a completely different direction and more like mainstream stuff. Corridor, however, always stayed close to their roots. And because of this, they have a very loyal following. And they've actually branched out at where they have a secondary channel called Sam and Nico. And then they also have a gaming channel, which we'll talk about later, called Node. So what they do is they create VFX content. So it's a video that is focused around visual effects, and then it usually adds in sort of video game aspects or stuff in the realm of video game aspects. It's a really neat sort of combination, and they like to have a lot of fun with it. You can see that there's some very sort of fun videos throughout this. And basically what they do is they just go through here to figure out what is trending in the video game world and how they might be able to create a video that's funny off of that. And it usually involves VFX as well. So for example, you have, the Battlegrounds movie. That was a really good one by them. They have original creations like No Such Thing as Ghost and There's No Time to Explain. Nerf Overwatch was a neat one because they took, basically they built the Overwatch characters in Nerf and then added VFX to make it all look realistic. Then they have things like GTA. They have actually a really neat series, an anime series where they create anime in real life, which is just hilarious to watch it whenever you take that and actually bring it into the real world, how ridiculous some of this stuff sort of looks. and they have this sort of content. It's very unique to them, and basically they've never sort of gone away from that. They also have very unique sort of music as well. And this all kind of comes together in a full package. That's what's really important about Corridor Digital, is their ability to create an idea and then bring it all together into a neat package that is very good with things like editing. And so that's something that's important, is their quality is top notch, and they've been making top notch quality video for years. They don't have a lot of videos. If you check, they only have 150 uploads. But the reason that they are so popular is because their uploads are always extremely high quality. They always have amazing quality videos that are very fun and interesting to watch and are really easily shareable. Remember earlier in the course how we were talking about creating content that can be easily shared? Well, Corridor, that's what they specialize in. They create content that can be easily shared. They're an entertainment channel with a VFX and sort of gaming focus that creates content that's easily shareable. And that's a very powerful combination for them. It's got them the views and the build of the audience that they wanted, and now they can sort of just do whatever they want with it. You can see that earlier on they did a lot of video game stuff, and they still do video game stuff, but they branch off a little bit more every once in a while just to have some fun and to learn some new techniques. And so that's one of the important things. You can see they also have a series here, one of their YouTube Red series. But that's the important thing to take away from Corridor, is consistent quality and creating shareable content is a great way towards growth. That's what they've done, and they have managed to get insane amounts of growth that is actually very consistent over time. And they've gotten very consistent views over time, and you can see that they make somewhere probably about $200,000 off of this channel alone, and they have a couple of other channels that all kind of come together. They do some product placements. They make a very good living from doing this. So Corridor, definitely a channel to look for if you're looking in the entertainment realm. They really have quality. They have the editing. They have the visual the stunning stuff that people want to see, and they're very easily shareable. Very easy to create a video and have it spread across the internet really, really fast.